Welcome to In Focus with Silvana Pavlovska. Today we're going to share an opinion with you, an editorial, which came out on the online opinion, Australia's e-journal of social and political debate. It was published on the 26th of June, so it was last Monday, and the author of this opinion is Mr Ordan Andreevski. The title of the opinion is Australian Foreign Policy under the Albanese government. The first anniversary of the Albanese government in office provides an opportunity for a critical assessment of its foreign policy, direction, and impact from a community perspective. Australia's multicultural communities and diasporas are watching carefully and hoping that positive change is possible in a deliberative democracy. The first conclusion is that we have a new Australian government, but the foreign and defense policies and ideology remain unchanged and elitist in a post-truth age in global politics. The foreign policy priority of the Albanese government has been on maintaining so-called genuine partnerships in the Indo-Pacific. In particular, continuation without scrutiny of the foreign policy priorities of the Morrison government, including AUKUS and the Quad, and the deadly proxy war in Ukraine. Strong emphasis has been placed on strengthening security ties with the Anglo-American Empire to exclusion of all other legitimate options. A positive development has been the warming of ties with our biggest trading partner, China, and the expansion of links with India and the Pacific. Australia paid a huge price for the reckless anti-China policies and rhetoric of the Morrison government, working under instructions from war hawks in Washington, D.C. The short, medium, and long-term impact of these policies have yet to be measured rigorously from an economic and strategic perspective. Our reputation, soft power, and image as a good international citizen has suffered as a result of arrogance of power by the coalition and now by the Albanese government. There is something Orwellian with the Albanese government which treats new despots unequally. American, United Kingdom, European Union, and Indian leaders are never questioned, whereas others receive harsh sanctions, boycotts, and wars. Foreign Minister Wong has been given more power, energy, and prestige than her predecessor, Senator Payne. After a capability review, the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade has been given more resources to partly make up for the drastic funding and policy cuts of the previous regime. It has also become more integrated with the Department of Defense. Effort is underway by talented foreign policy experts like Melissa Conley-Tyler to re-emerge a new Australian foreign policy that integrates all the arms of statecraft, including foreign affairs, defense, and international development assistance. Academics and some think tanks are busy trying to assist the Albanese government to develop robust and coherent foreign policy. Sadly, the perfidious military-industrial complex from the United States and the United Kingdom have way too much influence over Australian foreign policy. Every foreign policy problem has a defense solution which costs staggering amounts of money for dubious projects. How many times does Australia need to raise its debt ceiling and avoid becoming an unsustainable and bankrupt country like the United States, especially with the ever-expanding de-dollarization? The Australian media has deteriorated further by not asking difficult foreign policy and defense questions. Even our ABC has been transformed into a propaganda arm of government. The defense industry profiteers and unelected warmongers, oligarchs who use propaganda to defocus our critical thinking capabilities and rising debts. The Australian Parliament has also failed in its duty to properly scrutinise, debate and assess whether the old foreign policy strategy and behaviour is fit for purpose in a fast-changing, multipolar digital world. Nothing should be off the table for democratic debate. Resources must be devoted towards reassessing our foreign policies. Sadly, there's an absence of debate on what role has the Biden administration had in setting Ukraine up for a war with Russia via neglect of the Minsk agreements in 2014, the blowing up of the Nord Stream pipeline by the United States, and the prevention of Ukraine from considering peace proposals from China or anyone else. Australian foreign policy fails the good policy evidence test due to lack of transparency and rigor in public decision-making. Australian foreign policy is rarely based on reliable evidence and consultations with all key stakeholders. Australian foreign policy making can benefit from the benchmarking criteria developed by Ken Wiltshire from the University of Queensland. In particular, he asks, was there a need and what factual evidence existed for the policy? What public interest objectives is the policy serving? What alternative solutions were considered and what were the advantages and disadvantages? What stakeholders were consulted before making the policy? Was the legislation adequately debated before it got passed? Is there sufficient official information online about the policy? Australian citizens have the right to know how our foreign policies are made and who benefits. Citizens will reject foreign policy decisions made secretly and without due democratic processes and accountability. Australian Macedonians expect the Albanese government to do a better foreign policy development and implementation job. The Macedonian community in Australia is deeply alarmed that since 1994, Australia has failed to develop a fair, just, ethical, evidence-based and sustainable policy towards the Republic of Macedonia and the Macedonian people. Instead, it has blindly followed the instructions of anti-Macedonian policies of reckless Western elites. Macedonia and its people must enjoy equal rights for freedoms or to freedoms, democracy, human rights, non-coercion, non-discrimination, and pride in their distinct identity and nationhood. That was the opinion of Mr. Ordan Andreevski, which was titled Australian Foreign Policy under the Albanese Government, published on the 26th of June 2023 as part of the online opinion in Australia's e-journal of social and political debate. If you have any comments or questions, please send them to us, and don't forget to like and follow our channel In Focus with Silvana Pavlovska. I thank you for your attention, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.